What is this magic? What's happening here? Am I having a moment of deja vu? Are you having a moment of deja vu? Because this is how we started off the last episode, on a single player world, on the same seed as Hermitcraft, and doing some experiments with a mod that shows us giant spheres so that we can see, if we're standing at one point in the world, like down at Bedrock, where exactly the fishies are going to be spawning. And in this episode, we're going to build yet another fish farm. This one's going to be very interesting, though. It's going to be able to do something that the last one couldn't. But what we do need to do is actually build it in a different biome. You see, the last one that we did was a lukewarm ocean, and it turns out the pufferfish actually have a smaller rate of spawning than in a warm ocean, which we're above right now. So I've been scouting out some locations and looking for a landmass where we could potentially fill in this sized area right here, and then that means we could build a farm in that space as well. So I scouted out two locations, and this one over here I initially thought was the better one because it had these big lumps of land. But what you really want to do is actually have all the land in the very middle filled out, or should I say water. So this one looks like it'd be quite a bit of work. But this spot over here, maybe not as much, because the land overall tends to be higher. And so when we come under here, you can see that most of the area that we need filling in is kind of close to the surface. And by the way, we're not far from where the previous farm was. That's actually it over there just off in the distance. And you might have also noticed some funkiness just going on with the water over here. I had to point this out because these are patches of lukewarm ocean inside of the warm ocean, and so I've changed biome blend to make it really obvious. These odd patterns actually appear quite often throughout a Minecraft world, and when I found this here on Hermitcraft, I thought it was really odd, and I thought I'd share it. So before we do anything on the actual Hermitcraft server, we're going to goof around in creative mode just to see if the farm idea I've got is even possible. And so for that reason, I'm just going to fill in all of this space right here with sand, which is just destroying my game. So I've cleared out a massive area for us to experiment in, and yeah, just for us to experiment. Once we get the farm design working and the concept proved, when we do this on Hermitcraft, it is definitely not going to look like this. So my first idea here has been unsuccessful, unfortunately. I want to bring the fishies to me. And you're probably thinking, I'm going to whack them with a looting sword, right? Well, I could do that, but I have another idea in mind as well. Unfortunately, this has not worked out. You see, fishies, they can basically swim against the current of the water. So we've got soul sand over here to bring them to the top. That works. But then when there's flowing water going across like this, they can swim against that current. And when they're on the edge, they don't even fall off. We have more success with this layout over here, and it's still relatively slow. But if you look at the distance they have to travel to over to here, it makes sense to use the longer water streams, which they just end up sitting in because this stuff doesn't really push them along. So it's time for idea number 2, and if this don't work, well, I'm probably then out of ideas. Here's another way that we can move mobs in this game with minecarts. So I've created a very small spawning space to begin with. This can be expanded, and then some minecarts can go back and forth and hopefully pick them up. Now, one's done it straight away, and it actually takes a little bit of luck for that to happen. I did try using pistons to sort of push them onto the tracks, which worked, but when you've got quite a few of them in there, eventually one gets sort of nudged onto the side and a minecart can pick it up, although that doesn't happen too often. I think this project is going to take a lot of tinkering time. I'm kind of learning things one step at a time. Like, look at this pufferfish, okay? It gets picked up, but then it doesn't get put down anywhere useful, and it might take some time to figure out how to get it to dynamically drop them into the water. I'm also messing around with doing this. You see, maybe we can get them to come up to this height and it makes them more likely to land on the rails. So there's like lots of optimizations that need to be made here before this concept really becomes useful. But as you can see, you know, a few fishies have successfully been dropped here on the outside, and the idea of course is that we drop them right in front of me. But things here are not going well. You can see that a couple of minecarts have stopped on the track, and that's because the fish's hitboxes can actually stop the minecart. And also, getting them to dismount in a particular location has been really difficult. I've been doing all sorts of experiments, and they basically always get dropped onto the track. So if we're going to make this work, I kind of need like a breakthrough idea. And so I goofed around with this idea where perhaps we could use the event of the fish coming up to the tripwire to then put it inside the minecart, but I can't really find a position in which this will grab it every time. So I think it's time to explain my unique idea for this farm. You see, there is a mob in this game that has many variants, and that is known as the tropical fish. And of course you can pick this up with a bucket. So that's why I want to bring these mobs to me, the player, so I can pick them up like this. Now when you do that, you'll see that it has a custom name. This one right here is, was it butterfly fish, did it say? Yeah, butterfly fish. Let's go grab you. And you are slightly different, you are blue tang. So there are many different types, and I thought it would be really cool to collect all of them. But not only is capturing them kind of difficult, I realized that I made a bit of a big mistake over here. You see, I originally pictured this working with buckets, so I figured that we could fill up the player's inventory, and then we'd have a slot full of buckets, we'd have storage like this, which is why I need so much iron, to constantly give it to the player, and then we would bring all the fishes to a single spot where we would hold down right click, and I need to be in survival mode for that to work actually, so I'm just gonna... Is this the best view? Yeah, you can kind of see it right there. You can probably see it from all the views. When you do this way in survival, you will chuck the bucket out in front of you. So as long as we're continuously stocking up that 16 iron buckets, it means that we'll always be able to right click and then fill the bucket up. So I've used lava here as a demonstration. So things work a little different with the fish. If I put one down right here and click on it with an empty bucket, you'll see we actually scoop up the water first. If I click on it again, we then get our bucket of tropical fish. So it would be possible to give the player buckets of water to refine this spot here with water and keep bringing fishies into it. But then rather than just holding down right click when you're AFK, we then need a macro because we're going to need to click a couple of times and then press R to throw that down and have something pick it up. And then we'd have to click a couple of times again and just keep repeating that step over and over again. But we're not even going to worry about that system over there because until I figure this out, we're not really going to get anywhere with this project. So I'm going to tinker around with this on live streams probably. So for this episode, we're knocking it on the head. And over here, our actual fish farm that works, I have set up a portal. And I've also discovered a problem. As you can see, I've got lots of pufferfish. There is some fishy business afoot. I know, it's a terrible pun, but I had this thought that something was wrong, so I checked out the farm with my camera account and noticed that only a couple of minecarts were coming up to drop off items. So going down below to investigate, there were minecarts missing, and then I saw it, there were a bunch grouped up in the corner, stuck on the tracks. Somehow they managed to jump over from one track to another and ended up getting caught up in this corner. It is just Minecraft funkiness at its best. So this means that a load of fishies up top are actually dying, but then all of their items are just simply sitting on the floor and not getting collected, which I think is why we had such poor rates. And so to kind of confirm that, like a lot of these drops came through right at the beginning of my session, but then hardly any more by the end of it. So essentially, if I want to get this stuff, I have to come over here and reset the minecarts each time. Well, one thing we can do now is get rid of this scaffolding. It's a bit of a pain to, go all the way up to the surface and then fly off to my base and come back again. So now we've got the portal for that. And the tunnel here is a fair distance away from my one. It's opposite Corralis's portal on this nether tunnel. And if we go down here, I then take a right turn into my portal. So obviously the way in which I want to travel is kind of at a right angle in that direction. And do you know what? Maybe I could have put a tunnel here. I just kind of walked all the way to the end of Etho's bit, and I was like, yeah, there's no opening up of anything here. Also, I noticed, whoa, nice box. So we could ask Etho about modifying this wall, but I think I'm actually just going to stick with the tunnel that I've set up for now. So to make this presentable, I threw together something rather quickly. As you can see, bit of a spirally pattern leading us to the portal, and the colours are just kind of reminiscent of the ocean with the blues. On the opposite side, I wanted to keep that ocean theme going again. We got some ice. It's kind of pale in this room, but what really messed it up was the water. This is swamp water, which is kind of green. I was hoping this would pop over here. So anyway, access to the storage, but if we swim over here and go up through this gap, that is how we get into the back area, so we can fix minecart hoppers and stuff like that. And so I must have reset these about 45 minutes ago, and look, already got them parked on the tracks again, and there's not one over here. It's a complete nightmare, this thing. So I guess you could say that this episode we've had a couple of fishy failures. Also, this guy, I didn't actually put on this skin in the last episode. If you remember the thumbnail, well, in my comments I had lots of questions about it. This is the skin from Season 6 of Hermitcraft, where I was the Pufferfish pranker, hiding pufferfishes in other people's bases. That was an absolute blast. But anyway, when I was reading my comments and seeing your questions about it, I was looking for suggestions for potions to give to other hermits. A lot of you suggested Scar needs fire resistance because he dies a lot in the Nether. So I picked that up for him. And over here I'm firing up the last 3 brewers. That, my friends, is an invisible spider. So there were 2 other hermits that were commonly suggested, and so I fired up the last 3 sections of the brewer. We've got the night vision potion, then the potion of invisibility, and the weakness potion, which is for Vintage Beef, who is converting zombie villagers. So these will come in handy once we convert them to splash potions. And over here you'll see that this one isn't filled up properly. And that is because I initially made a mistake. You see, when I added this addition of the rails going across the top, I changed the wiring below it, and that redstone there is actually very important. It needs to literally do what it's doing right now and lock this one, which has managed to accumulate some blaze powder. So that one's fixed, but this one right here is broken, and I don't know why. This golden carrot should be here, and that should be up there. Let's check out the order of ingredients, right? We got nether warts, then we have golden carrots, and then on the far side we have the fermented spider eye. Yeah, when this thing gets activated, don't seem to come into it in the correct order. So I've got a weird feeling this is just going to be one of those Minecraft quirks. So in come the potions and the nether wart, and what's above it? Why? Why are they the wrong way around? I don't understand. I'm not really sure if I can modify this. Actually, I can modify this. It's pretty ingenious. If I do that, this ingredient will have to take a longer path to get to the next part. That might just solve this quirk. So here we go again. That ingredient has just been dispensed, but it's going through more hoppers now. Hey, and they're in the correct order. So, you know... Oh! Goodness me, look at that face. But yeah, bit of a weird solution, but it seems that it's worked. I tell you what, I really like having an excuse to visit other hermits' bases. I don't ever really come out this way too often. And this is Scar's area. However, I don't think he actually resides here anymore. Whoa, whoa, there's obstacles to be dodged. He's now working out over in this area. Ah, look at this. Fantastic. I've seen it in his videos, but coming out here myself, scale of this place is absolutely epic. So somewhere around here, I'm going to leave him his potions. Aha, there we go. So I'll shoot Scar a message so he knows where to find this. So what's that off in the distance? Ah, it is the goat, yes. And this place hasn't changed much in a while since we were last here, as Doc has been absent from the server, but he has returned and he's been wrangling up mobs, which is why these invisibility potions might come in useful for him when wrangling them. So we're going to leave him aside, of course. One thing that has changed... Oh, there is that face again. I need to change my skin back to normal. The other half of this build, it used to be over here. It's completely gone. And what is that over there? Oh, it's an Enderman in a minecart. It looked really mysterious. Like that. You know, what's that? Oh, okay. Hilarious, right. Aha, there we go. And I will send that over to Doc. So for this next hermit, I had no idea where their base was, so I used the world download to have a look at everything, and this is Vintage Beef's Island, right? So this is the area that he was playing in, and so I figured he would have gone somewhere north from here to find his island, and I believe it is this right here, the Three Foxes Island. Aha! Here it is! This is my first time visiting this place. Wow! This is rather impressive right here. We got a city going on. Let's just fly through the main road here. Oh wow, this is very like cyberpunk style. Yeah, this is something. This place is loaded with details, lots of different textures and colors, really giving me some city life nighttime vibes with these fluorescent signs that are dotted around the place. What an interesting build. So I figured I would leave the shulker box next to the original 3 foxes right here. Well, this would have been the time to have checked out Beef's Island, really, but I'm flying back to mainland now, and we're running into Toon Towers, where we need to stop off. Tango has left me a shulker box full of iron blocks. What a champion. So what is all of this iron for? Well, it's for buckets, and at the time of asking Tango, I had yet to run into some of the troubles that you've seen earlier in this video, so... Now, for those of you that watched the last episode, you'll know that my iron farm is currently broken, and Nembom reached out to me and explained that there is indeed a fix. Something changed in 1.16.4, and the fix is to put carpets on top of the beds. So if you use the same iron farm, that is the trick you need to use. As for me, I really don't enjoy wrangling villagers. Maybe I'll come over here and fix this on a live stream or something. Last episode, I also had quite a few comments from some of you saying that Tango wanted Turtle Master potions, but he never made some himself for his minigame. Well, I chatted to Tango about this, and he was kind of confused, and it turns out that that was the Decked Out minigame, not his newest one, and if you didn't know, Decked Out is finished at the moment. It's over, so he's not really interested in those potions anymore, but I do want to try and do the Turtle Master one. Now, I've flown over here to show you something. If we jump up there, can you see how this thing is backed up at the moment? This thing is backed up in a real big way. Like, it's completely chock-a-block, and there are still shears in here, shearing the sheep and leaving the wall on the ground. Okay, so there is a clock down here, which is set to activate the dispensers that shear the sheep. If ever the system gets stuck and doesn't update, a pulse will be sent. Now, what I want to do, I think, is from this block here, is actually power this, so that this redstone powering the dispensers would be permanently on. Okay, so what we're going to do is detect if there's items in here. When there are, it means that the system has backed up, because around the corner, this is where the actual item filter parts are, right? So this might seem ridiculous, but we have to kind of squeeze this in and avoid other elements. So we don't want that powering the redstone from the side. We also need to invert the signal. And then we're going to have blocks come around like this. Here we go. Now that should lock out everything at every floor. Hey, here it goes. One of them just started eating. Bam! It works. Excellent. So that was a really cool little redstone modification that didn't break our system and added a pause button to the whole thing. Anyways, I know it's an old project, but hey, redstoning is fun. And do you know what else is fun? Shenanigans. And Iskau just remarked at my skin and how he thought it looked funny, and I said, hey man, don't get close. So I guess this means the Pufferfish pranker is back. And that's right, the system works with back-to-back boxes. Just threw 2 in, and then a moment later, we got our splash potions. So the idea here is pretty simple. I'm a pufferfish. If you get close, you're gonna get poisoned. Oh man, this is trippy. Look at this staircase. It just goes on and on and on. Wow, this is epic. That is a lot of diamonds. A lot of diamonds. Oh, I found him. Look at that face! Look at that face! Now I told him, don't get close. I got myself as well! I got myself as well. Maybe I should have brought like a complimentary bucket as well after. Make sure everything's good. Look at that shirt as well. Goodness me. He just got close again. He just got close again. You can't do that. He's trying to pick me up. He's trying to pick me up with a bucket. I can't take this face seriously. It's so derpy. Oh, that was good fun. Anyway, and when we were in Iskau's base, his diamond pile gave me a little bit of an idea. So on top of our creeper towers, we have these piles for possibly slime blocks, right? And then I never really liked that idea much. Well, I don't have enough diamonds to make 4 piles like that, but why not diamond blocks up here, you know? You know, I can already tell this is a bad idea. Do you want to know why? Because that is 1/4 of the diamonds, and it's not very big. Yeah, I'll have to split these up for the other bits, right? Nope. No, I'm not going to do it. It's going to look silly. You have to put the diamonds in a really big pile. So, suggestions for this roof. What are we going to put up here? And also, where are we going to put the diamond blocks? I feel like we should put them on display. So, let me know what your ideas are with a comment down below. So, I wanted to round this episode out with some significant changes over at the brewery. The next stage beyond all the technical stuff is the building stuff, and so with this being a mega project, the building has to be mega too. And so much so that I've gathered tons of cobble, polished andesite, cracked stone bricks, and started to lay down the foundation of a massive build that is going to rise up into the sky. Let's look over my shoulder and see the footprint for it. You're probably going to point out that it's kind of not aligned with the brewer, and that is actually intentional. Now, the original idea was to put the modifiers in this space over here, but I think I made the right call because that is probably not enough space for the width of these machines. I thought that was the way down, and every time I do this, that face, it's almost like I've got eyes, you know, the way the texture lines up. Sleepy, sleepy eyes. I thought I was walking down here to the bottom area, and if we just have a quick look, you can see this is a fair bit wider, and so it wouldn't really fit into that space, but this thing is going to have a grand old entrance, and we're actually going to hide this initially behind a wall so we can make the entrance to the area feel all kinds of symmetrical. So although we've still got farms to build to get this thing finished, you know, we're going to have hermits coming over here soon to use this thing. We need to work on tidying this up, making it easy to access, and getting that mega build built around it, which really is going to be mega. Okay then, I'm officially retiring that skin for this episode, and, you know, it's the end of the episode as well, so if you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like, and remember I do live streams after these episodes go out, so head over to twitch.tv/Xisuma, hit the follow button, and I'll see you over there. So thanks for watching, bye bye.